Welcome! In this explainer, we're going to break down how you can build a truly massive business, even if you're starting with absolutely nothing. And here's the secret. It's not about having some stroke of genius or a one-in-a-million idea. Nope. It's about using proven, simple, even kind of boring ideas that actually, make money. So, let's just get right into it. You've probably been told this 1,000 times. To build a great business, you need to find some huge problem and then come up with a totally groundbreaking, unique solution for it. That's the story we always hear, right? But what if I told you that story isn't exactly the whole truth? Because, honestly, it might be the biggest lie in business. The real truth is that most successful, profitable, and scalable businesses, they are not built on revolutionary ideas. In fact, a lot of the time, it's the most boring, familiar ideas that end up generating the most wealth. I mean, think about it. How many successful coffee shops are there? The idea isn't new at all. It's all about the execution, not the invention. To really get this, we have to ask ourselves a pretty fundamental question. Who are the people who actually become wealthy? Is it the people on the front lines, the ones doing all the hands-on work? Or is it the people who are organizing all of that work?
Just look at this contrast here. On one side, you have the essential problem solvers, the scientists, the farmers, the doctors. These are the people who make society function, but they're typically paid a salary for the work they do, and they almost never become billionaires. And on the other side, you have the system builders.
And that's the crucial difference. Entrepreneurs don't really do the work themselves. They build systems that get the work done. I mean, think about it. Bill Gates hasn't personally written a line of code for Microsoft in, 40 years? Gautam Adani isn't out there farming wheat. They created these massive enterprises that organize the work of thousands and thousands of people. And that really is the heart of entrepreneurship. It's about stepping out of the comfort and the safety of a regular job and taking on calculated risk, or jokhim, which is a great Hindi word for risk or danger, and then building an enterprise that organizes all these resources to create value. It's a complete shift in how you think, moving from an employee to a builder.
So if you're feeling ready to make that mental leap from being a worker to becoming a system builder, what's the game plan? Where do you even start? Well, let's break it down into 5 super practical, actionable rules for execution.
This is basically our roadmap. We're going to follow this from making that initial decision all the way to building a business that can truly scale. So let's get into rule number 1.
Okay, rule number 1. And I want you to notice something here. It has absolutely nothing to do with coming up with an idea. The very first step is a mental one. You have to truly decide deep down that you are ready to take on the headache, the responsibility, and the initiative to build something yourself without anyone telling you what to do. Now, this brings us right to rule number 2. And this might go against everything you've been told. Forget about being super creative or innovative for a minute. That's a myth for most startups. The smartest, lowest risk thing you can do is sell something that people already know, they already understand, and they already want. If you're in Mumbai, open a vada pav shop, not a falafel stand. You follow the demand that's already there. You don't try to create a new one from scratch. And this really highlights a key insight about markets. People pay for their wants, not necessarily their needs. I mean, think about it. Do any of us need soft drinks or junk food or to scroll endlessly through social media? Of course not. But these are multi-billion-dollar industries because they give people something they enjoy, something they desire. That's where the big money is.
Okay, so you've made the decision to be an entrepreneur, and you found an existing demand. What's next? Rule number 3, you have to do the math. Look, passion and motivation are awesome. They're the fuel, but they don't pay the bills. You have to sit down and soberly analyze your costs, your materials, your labor, your rent, and weigh all of that against how much money you can realistically make. You have to see if the business is actually financially viable. So, once the numbers check out, it's time for rule number 4. Just start. Seriously, don't overthink it to death. Find the money you need and just begin. And where does that money come from? Well, there's no shame in asking your family. You could work another job or do some freelance work on the side to fund it. Or you can simply start small where you are the very first employee. And that's such a powerful idea, isn't it? A millionaire is often just someone who takes a simple job, like, say, making omelets at a small stall, and they master every single part of it. Then, they figure out how to replicate and scale that entire process. The goal isn't to be the omelet maker forever, it's to learn the system so well that you can expand it.
All right, so we've covered the first 4 rules, which are all about getting you off the ground. But now we've arrived at the final rule. And honestly, this is by far the most important one. This is the thing that separates a small neighborhood shop from a massive global empire. Rule number 5 is all about scale. And you can only achieve massive scale when you create a standardized, automated system. Your business has to be able to run and be replicated perfectly, over and over and over again, without you having to be directly involved in every single little task. I mean, just think about Domino's for a second. It is the perfect example of this. Whether you walk into a Domino's in Delhi or one in Calcutta, everything is exactly the same. The menu, the recipes, the taste of the pizza, the staff's uniforms, the kitchen layout, the way you order. It's a perfectly standardized model that can basically be copied and pasted anywhere in the world. That is the incredible power of a system.
And hey, don't think for a second that these are just Western ideas. Look at these amazing Indian giants. Lijjat Papad started with just 7 women and a simple replicable model for making papad. Amul created a genius system to connect millions of farmers to city markets. Balaji Wafers went from 3 brothers just frying chips in their home to a massive company. They all started small, but they were thinking in terms of systems from the get-go. So, here's the crucial takeaway. No business is inherently small. A business only stays small if the person running it fails to build a system to scale it. The potential is always there. So the real question isn't if your business can be big, but when are you going to